Welcome to our GEO guide.
Glad to be here.
So imagine waking up tomorrow, you pull up your website analytics, and, well, you see that your organic traffic has just completely plummeted, like dropped by 80%.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a nightmare scenario.
Right. And it's not because your site is broken or, you got penalized by some algorithm update. It's simply because an artificial intelligence read your content, understood it perfectly, extracted all the actual value from it, and basically decided, you know what, I don't need to send human beings to this page anymore.
Yeah, and I mean, that is the exact anxiety that is keeping content creators, business owners, and, well, entire marketing teams awake at night right now.
For sure.
Because we are essentially moving from this era of algorithmic indexing where search engines basically just cataloged links, right?
Yeah.
To this new era of semantic extraction.
Where they synthesize it on the spot.
Exactly. They are answer engines now.
And that transition, that's really the mission for our deep dive today. We are exploring this highly timely essay by Jörg-Owe Schneppat.
Yes, Schneppat's work on this is just fascinating.
It really is. He takes a very clear-eyed look at what we call generative engine optimization, or GEO. And we're going to figure out how you, the listener, can ensure that your knowledge and your content aren't just left behind. Because Schneppat really argues that the internet is fundamentally changing.
He does. And I love the way he frames it.
Yeah, the way I like to think about it as an analogy is that traditional search is kind of like getting a map to this giant library, right?
Yeah.
You have to go in and find the right book yourself.
Right, yeah.
But generative search, that's like walking up to this super librarian who has already read every single book in the building and just gives you the exact answer. You don't even need to touch the book.
That is a perfect way to put it. And, building on that, Schneppat's core premise in the essay is that because we are shifting from these result engines to these answer engines, your content needs to be way more than just visible. I mean, it needs to be useful as an actual source.
Useful as a source.
Okay. Yeah. His essay is really a wake-up call. But he doesn't just ring the alarm bell, He actually maps out the mechanics of how we can adapt to this. And to understand how to optimize for this new reality, Schneppat says we first have to look really closely at the shift in user behavior.
Which makes sense. I mean, the traditional user journey was pretty linear, right? Like, you search for something, you scan a list of 10 blue links, you click the one that looks the least terrible, and then you read the website to find your answer.
Yeah, exactly.
The entire goal of classic SEO was literally just getting that initial click.
Right, win the rank, win the click. But that model is being completely upended by generative search. So Schneppat details this entirely new user journey. Today, the user searches, and then they immediately read this AI-generated answer that's just plastered right at the top of the page.
Right, the AI overviews and things like that.
Exactly. And only after they absorb that summary, maybe they glance at the cited sources the AI used. And from there, they often just ask a follow-up question directly to the AI, staying right in that same chat interface.
So they aren't leaving the search engine at all.
Barely ever. And this is Schneppat's critical observation. The user only clicks through to a source website if they require deeper value, like something the AI summary simply could not provide.
Okay, let's unpack this. Wait, so is Schneppat just telling us to write generic text for robots and manipulate AI systems?
No, absolutely not.
Because that sounds awful. Like, are we just abandoning our human audience to appease some scraping bot?
No. And that's actually the massive aha moment in Schneppat's essay. A lot of people have that exact fear, right? But Schneppat emphatically argues the opposite. Good GEO is strictly built around human usefulness.
Really? But we're optimizing for an AI.
I know, it sounds counterintuitive, but think about the AI's goal. Schneppat points out that if a page is convoluted or just confusing to a human being, it's essentially useless to an AI, because the AI's job is to extract a reliable fact.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, GEO is not some technical trick, and it's definitely not keyword stuffing. Schneppat emphasizes that it all begins with asking a simple question: would this page be a reliable source for a real person?
That actually makes a lot of sense. So it's basically acting as a hyper-strict quality filter.
Exactly. If it's bad for a human, the AI flags it as a low-confidence source and just moves on to the next one.
So if this new AI-driven approach is the future, I mean, it raises an obvious question about the past. Do we just throw traditional SEO out the window?
Schneppat takes a very firm stance on this. He says absolutely not. GEO does not replace SEO.
Doesn't.
Not at all. I mean, search systems still need to crawl your site, index the pages, interpret the basic technical structure. Schneppat points out that if a page is blocked or, poorly structured technically, GEO cannot magically fix it. SEO is the technical foundation. GEO is the layer on top.
Okay, so to put it into a visual,
Right.
SEO is basically like building a sturdy house, right?
Yeah.
With really good paved roads leading up to it so people or bots can actually find it.
Right, exactly.
And then GEO is how you arrange and verify the information inside the house so that when an AI walks in, it actually wants to use it as a reference.
That is a perfect analogy, and Schneppat is very practical about this. He says the question isn't, should I do SEO or GEO? The real question businesses need to ask is how can I make my SEO strong enough for traditional search and precise enough for generative search?
Wow. Okay. So you really need both working in tandem.
You have to. You cannot survive with just one anymore.
So assuming we have that sturdy house built, how do we actually structure the information inside so that an AI chooses to cite us over, say, a competitor who also has a sturdy house?
Well, this brings us to one of Schneppat's absolute most important concepts in the essay. He calls it citability.
Citability.
Yeah. To be GEO-friendly, he argues your content must be easy to understand, exceptionally easy to verify, and above all, precise.
Precise. Okay, what does that look like in practice?
Schneppat gives a really great example of weak versus strong content to illustrate this. So a weak example would be that typical marketing copy we see everywhere. Something like, we offer professional SEO services for companies of all sizes.
Oh, I've read that exact sentence on 100 websites.
Right. It's fluff. And an AI looks at that and finds zero factual, specific data to extract. But Schneppat contrasts that with a strong, citable version. A strong page explains exactly what the service includes, like maybe it's keyword mapping or technical audits.
Specifics.
Yes, it states exactly who the service is for, the specific problems it solves, the provider's qualifications, and realistic, quantifiable results.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because every day, human users absolutely despise vague marketing speak.
We hate it.
Right. We've been begging for years for websites to just cut the fluff and give us direct answers, clear headings, actual examples. And it is incredibly ironic that it took AI search engines to finally force companies to stop using corporate buzzwords and start providing actual value.
It is wildly ironic. But Schneppat really hammers this point home. Citability means you have to shift your mindset. You aren't just asking, is this content readable? You have to ask, is this content reference-worthy?
Reference-worthy. So if being specific and reference-worthy is the ultimate goal, what happens when dozens of websites are being highly specific about the exact same facts?
All right.
I mean, if we both write an article saying water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, we're both highly citable. How do you stand out when an AI can just instantly summarize common knowledge from literally anywhere?
That is the big challenge, and Schneppat addresses it by introducing two mandatory pillars for survival in this landscape: original value and trust.
Original value. Does creating original value mean like you have to fund massive, expensive research studies just to get cited? Because that sounds impossible for a small business.
No, and Schneppat provides a lot of reassurance here. You don't need a massive budget. Generative systems just need a distinct reason to pick your page. And that original value comes from things like firsthand experience, local knowledge, product testing, or expert commentary.
So small additions can work.
Perfectly. Schneppat gives some great examples. Let's say you're a local plumbing business. Instead of having a generic page about fixing leaky pipes, which the AI already knows all about, you explain the most common pipe failures specific to the hard water in your exact region.
Oh, wow.
Right. Or an online shop comparing products based on real customer use cases they've seen in their store, rather than just copying the manufacturer's spec sheet. It's about providing what a generic AI summary just cannot scrape from the wider web.
That makes total sense. And what about trust? That was the second pillar Schneppat mentioned.
Yes, trust is huge. Generative systems have to decide which sources are safe to show a user.
Because they don't want to get sued for giving bad advice.
Exactly. The liability is massive. So Schneppat highlights that trust signals are algorithmically vital. We're talking about visible authors with linked credentials, actual update dates on articles, clear company info, and source references.
Real human accountability.
Yes, especially for sensitive topics, like health, law, or finance. If you don't show who you are and why you're qualified, the AI assumes the risk is too high and just bypasses you entirely.
Wow. So bringing all of Schneppat's concepts together, from citability to original value and trust, He is really defining a completely new mindset required for anyone publishing on the web today.
He is. And Schneppat summarizes this core idea in just one brilliant sentence in his essay. He says, a website must become useful enough for humans and reliable enough for generative systems to use as a source.
Useful for humans, reliable for machines.
Exactly. The whole shift is moving away from that traditional SEO question of, how do we get more traffic, to the new GEO question of how do we become a source that deserves attention.
And that is such a powerful reframing. It really is.
It changes everything about how you plan content.
Well, as we wrap up here, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final thought to kind of mull over. We're living in a world now where AI can instantly summarize basically everything that has already been said. It has the consensus covered. So ask yourself, what is the unique human experience, the hyperlocal insight, or the hard-earned opinion that you possess, which a machine could never replicate but would desperately want to cite?
That is the million-dollar question.
It really is. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. If you want to explore Jörg-Owe Schneppat's essay further and really dig into the mechanics of this, we highly encourage you to head over to the website blue3w.com to learn more.
It's been great discussing this. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. See you next time.